Good morning. We are going to finish off our discussion on Indian aesthetics with Aujitya, which is immediately connected with the main topic, uh, Alankara. So, subcategory under Alankara, different kinds of Alankara, the use, abuse, all those have been discussed in the last session. You know how important it is, but the relevance of uh, the way using and abusing, that's what we have discussed. Use and abuse. It's not that Alankara is available. In poetic composition, you can make use of Alankara to add beauty. But we have to be careful. We have to be really qualitative enough. For any poet is supposed to take care while making use of it. It cannot be used where it is not necessary, or it cannot be avoided where it is necessary. It cannot be used where it is not necessary. It cannot be avoided where it is necessary. Means you have to use it, but in a very sensible way. Sensible, cannot be a term always you can attach with the literature, creativity, but at the same time, you can think about using and abusing. You have something, but you cannot see. Think about certain ingredients when you prepare some food items, where you talk about the using and abusing of something. You can take this metaphor very easily to connect it back. We can make use of the ingredients and preparation of food items, where you can easily connect it. You have coriander powder, you have chili powder, but there should be a proportion with which you make use of it. The same way, alankaras are there, different types of alankaras are there. But that doesn't mean that you have to use it without having any sense. Where it is not necessary, you are adding it more and more. So it becomes awkward. Your writings become awkward. Something negative, a negative effect is brought there. So that's why we have this next term here. In Alankara is the inevitable incarnation in which the idea embodies itself. But you have to use it, make use of it in a very sensible way. That's it. Okay. So the use and abuse of Alankara, with this we come across the last term in that module, Aujitya. Aujitya. Actually, this term, you have an English term almost equivalent, but in an obsolete way, propriety, Aujitya. And becoming sensible, you make use of something in a sensible way. That's it. Aujitya means Aujitya Bodham. So that term is not something very new. And the ultimate beauty in poetry lies in Aujitya. So again, the term you see the spelling Aucitya, Aujitya, C-I. But you pronounce it as Chitya. TH, not H is not there, but you make use of that, or you pronounce it in that way. Please be on time. So, ultimate beauty in poetry lies in Aujitya. And appropriateness, that's the term. Appropriateness or harmony and proportion. That's what you mean by Aujitya. You have those literary devices. Alankara is a literary device, and you have different types of Alankara. You are the people who are going to present it will discuss it in detail, which are the different types of literary devices available. Okay, and you think about now, you can take another metaphor here. Proportionately using and the importance of making use of it in proportionate manner or appropriate way, in a harmonious way. That is, think about ornaments. You know, Alankara, even the term itself you can attach with the Alankara, ornaments that you use to beautify yourself. That ornaments actually doesn't have anything to do with a carcass. Carcass means dead body. On a dead body, we never decorate a dead body with some ornaments. Because no longer it serves the purpose. Ornaments definitely means beautifying. But on the carcass, it is not something suitable. It brings nothing but awkwardness. So here, Alankaras also. It may be futile without the magical element aujitya. That is, the poet selects it. The poet makes use of different literary devices available only where it is appropriate and where it can bring harmony in the composition, or it serves to the, or it matches with the proportion. Yeah, here it is necessary to use a simile. Here it is better that you use a metaphor. So that is the way a poet knows it. A literary genius, creative genius knows it. Otherwise, it looks awkward, and that is the way you have a different. You have an example shown here with an ornament on carcass. It doesn't serve the purpose. The same way, without having a sensible, appropriate use of certain literary devices like Alankara, it's not going to be not going to bring the purpose or to meet the purpose. Okay. Now, Aujitya determines the proper place and function of Alankaras. Aujitya determines the proper place and function of Alankaras. So, it cannot be given in that way. Like, you cannot make a table of contents and give, like, you have to use a simile here, metaphor here. It's about a poetic composition. It's a sudden, most often it is sudden outpouring. You have some ideas. If you have the skill of writing, you have that creative skill in you, you use it, you write down it. It's not a deliberate bringing of certain literary devices. You use it according to your themes and ideas in mind. Where aujitya, that aujitya of the writer, the composer, decides or brings the proper place, notes down the proper place and function, whether it is needed there, whether it is fitting there, whether it is necessary or unnecessary there. So that's why we discuss Aujitya with along with the title Use and Abuse of Alankara. Different ways of using it in one way or other. You came across the terms like external, just with the words. Sometimes it is with internal meaning, you can bring the literary effect. Sometimes it can be of both Shabda and Artha. We saw that the different ways in which it can be used. But at the end, we have to talk about this proper way, propriety, aujitya, appropriateness. It's not that you have it in abundance, so you can use it wherever and whenever you feel. I mean the right creative person. Now, Alankara is a beautifying factor only when it is appropriate to Artha and through it to Rasa. That's it. Ultimately, we reach up to Rasa because it's a cornerstone of Indian aesthetics. The ultimate aim is to serve or to supply something to Rasa, that aesthetic emotion you have to look at. You have to take care of bringing the effect, evolving rasa itself. But through Alankara and various different literary devices, you can try doing that. It's a beautifying factor, definitely. But only it is appropriate only when it is matching to artha and through it to jasa. So matching to artha means you have a theme in mind. You are going to write on some ideas in your mind. The writer is going to compose on some themes, and that has an artha, the meaning of its own. Where your literary devices, if not matching, those are not matching or serving the purpose of your content, your ideas, your characters, portrayals, then it is not something fitting enough there. We usually say in Malayalam, ഏച്ചു കെട്ടിയാൽ മുഴച്ചിരിക്കും. You say that. We always say like that. Means it's not fitting. It's not added on a place where it is needed. It's not at all matching. It's not at all fitting. That's where you have this difficulty of inappropriateness. So when a great poet concentrates on dressa, harmony and appropriateness will naturally follow. That's it. That's why I told you it's not about making a table of contents or contents like you make a table, you use simile here, metaphor there. No, no need of that. Not at all needed because These aestheticians are sure that when a great poet, a great poetic genius, concentrates on rasa, after all, the aim is on bringing the element of rasa, the feeling of rasa, the harmony and appropriateness will naturally follow. So these people have the take or what you say, the tendency to judge. Sometimes it is with matching one point with the other. That's a part of that can be taken as a part of the earlier form of criticism. Comparative study, comparing one with the other. We have later also we have different critics with a touchstone method and all. We can you will be introduced with Matthew Arnold, another literary critic, not belonging to Indian aesthetics or even classic, but these people have the tendency to take a few writers, some extremely known and successful writers, as the examples or as the yardstick with which, or according to whose writings with which, they want to assess other writers. Whether it's a good practice or not is another debatable or argument point. That's up to us. Now it's the freedom or choice of the readers. Some people may be the who stick to that idea, or you who prefer to follow that idea. Whether we have to move according to that or not is our choice, but at the same time this is a tendency. So the great poet, how do you define greatness in a poet? Think about some 60 students in a class reading the same text. All of you will not be having the same opinion. All of you will not be enjoying the book in the same way. Some people say like it's fine, it's extremely good. A few others say okay, it's average. A few others will say it's good for nothing. So that's all. So that's all with any writing, any writer, any creative work. You cannot always say that yeah, that particular text, this particular book by this author has been extremely good. So let me read all the 10 or 15 books by the same, and you are likely to be frustrated like anything. I came across such a experience. Just with one or two writings extremely good according to your taste, you cannot say that it's going to be the same with every writing of the same person. So that differs, but at the same time, these aestheticians or the classic critics or the earlier critics had the tendency. That's all. That's why I told this much. And the tendency to define this greatness, how you can be extremely perfect. You cannot always say. Nowadays, we have the literary schools saying that there is no absolute. Nothing is absolute. Your six can be my nine. If I look from the other side, we are standing at the opposite corner, opposite sides and say it's nine. No, I can't say it's six. The same way, literary literature, literary opinion on literary pieces, people, poets, writers, everything can be different with the different people. So, what about this harmony? What about this appropriateness? Everything is questionable. But once they get it as theory, we just have to take it as their opinion heads at least. Right. Now, any Alankara that fails to the effect of thought expressed by the poet is of no practical use. That's it. So, Alankara, you use it. You use an Alankara, be on time. So, use an Alankara. You use some Alankara, a figure of speech. If it fails to the effect of thought, that is the idea the writer wants to express, then it doesn't have much to do with the idea expressed by the poet. It's of no practical use. That's it. So you have to be very sensible, or you have to check for the appropriateness or harmony of any literary device used there in your writing. That's what they say. Now, Anandavardhana, another figure, Anandavardhana, uh, sets some rules for the proper use of Alankaras. How can you use it? He says that it is subordinated to rasa. That means rasa is the ultimate. It should be the ultimate aim. To bring the effect of rasa should be the ultimate aim of a composer, poet. Hmm? But this it has to aid these alankaras or literary devices has to aid or as a supplement. It should work as a supplement for the realization of rasa. Through that you have an effect or you have the feeling of rasa with that alankaras. Think about some, just to take the example of Dushyanta Shakuntala story, which we used to narrate the first part of, or to talk about the first part of this rasa theory, where you have those beautiful surroundings, everything. And think about that beautiful some alankara with a lot of alankara literary devices. You have an explanation on the part of your description on the part of the writer. That can definitely lead to the realization or effect of rasa. Because already you need that. You want to bring the beauty of those surroundings. You have to make the feeling, bring the feeling in the readers. For that, you definitely need some literary devices. It's not like the writer giving you idea in the mode of Shakuntala had a house. There is a river. Its name is Malini. It's flowing in a proper way. It is not contaminated with some factory waste or anything. Is it the way you want to? You feel like you have a feeling of rasada? No. Just go and read some description on some natural beauty. Just take Coleridge, Wordsworth, then you will understand. Path of glory leads to grave. When Gray says such in such beautiful composition that way, it's really fine. I all will die one day. If he composes in that way, all will die one day. One day. Path of glory leads but to grave. It's entirely different. So sometimes we need that literary qualitative composition to bring the effect of rasa. There you have rasa or not is a question. Or it's not a question because they are talking about an entirely different time period. But these theories are there, so you can use that, make use of that for comparing and discussing later writings as well. Gray, you know, he belongs to some later centuries. Indian aesthetics or these writers belong to even former time period. They belong to past, not a contemporary. But think about the way I hope I make sense in the case of this appropriateness. Now it should be introduced naturally with the poet, making no extra effort for it. That is the main point. So if it is a true creative genius, it should naturally follow even the rhyming words. Rhyming words, I don't think that those come naturally. Rhyming words are very deliberate. I believe in that way, especially in the case of sonnets and all. It's very deliberate, but still we have to appreciate that genius, that effort, because to choose those this following that pattern in every poem, every sonnet, it's entirely difficult a task, extremely difficult a task. Those words should match with their content as well. You cannot choose just a few random words. Those words have to follow the rhyme scheme. At the same time, it has to those have to match the content or theme of the poem. This is something very difficult. But here, according to aesthetics of Indian aesthetics, they say that it should naturally follow. Not about rhyme scheme, they say, but even Alankara or any other literary device. So there is no extra effort and it should naturally follow and it will contribute to rasa. And Anandavardhana recommends a judicious use of alankaras. And he says it must be ancillary. Ancillary means it's supplementary only, because it should not never be of prime importance. Prime importance should go to the aim should be that of bringing rasa in the compositions according to their concept. Hmm. Okay, the poet never lost sight of the central theme. The figures must be employed only in accordance with the main idea. That's it. So, when you concentrate more upon bringing these literary devices or stuffing your poems and writings with a lot of literary devices, you may lose connection with the central theme. You are busy bringing some literary devices or rhyme scheme or whatever, then you are likely to lose, the writer is likely to lose this central theme, connection with the central theme. That should never happen. Hmm? And the figures should never be overworked or must be assigned a secondary position only. According to Anantavardhana, he says that it should be a judicious use. It's a very judicious use. The way we say with the kind of properly, only where it is necessary, you can bring that. You should bring that. Otherwise, it will be almost like a kind of a swelling, or it brings awkwardness. It doesn't serve the purpose, and your idea is reversed. Your aim is in one way or other. It never meets the purpose. You assume bringing beauty, but you make use of alankaras or such literary devices unlikely, where it is never fitting the poem or the theme, the content, the whole of the composition loses its beauty. So that's all with the Indian aesthetics. Thank you so much for listening. Okay.